Hey guys, it's Chloe again, with something new and a new fun topic today. Um, so originally I was going to talk about the food industry and fast food because last night I found something absolutely horrific in my Chipotle burrito, but then I realized how interesting of a video is this going to be because all I'm going to say is that I found something really horrific and nasty in my Chipotle burrito, which wouldn't help anyone and would just be another rant video like my last video. So I figured that I would make an informational video on something that I really enjoy talking about, which is piercings, are piercings. So I love piercings. I think they're fascinating. I think they're awesome. There's so much you can talk about when you talk about piercings. I think what I'm going to do and want to do is going to be a series of videos. And each video I'm going to talk about a different piercing that I have and talk about the cost and maintaining, cleaning, the initial getting it done, etc. for each piercing that I have. So to start off, I guess I will say that I have, I counted earlier today in the car, I have 25 piercings. A lot, it might sound like a lot, then again, compared to some people, that's nothing. Some people have like double that. So 25 maybe isn't that much. I'm not really sure. But I have 25 piercings. A lot are on my ears, but I have them elsewhere as well. I have a couple of oral piercings. I have dermals. Obviously, I have my septum now. That's my most recent. I have my neck pierced. So there's a lot that I can talk about. So, but for me to talk about all of them in one video would take an hour, which I know that's like way too long. So I think I'm just going to break it down into different videos. But for my first piercing video, I want to talk about my favorite piercing. They're my babies, and I refer to them as my babies because I love them, and they were the first set of piercings that I got other than anything on my ears. And so they are my dermals or microdermals, which I have a set on my chest here. So all I can think about as far as dermals. To start off, I just want to say that I do have, I mean, not compared to some, but I do feel like I have a bunch of experience with piercings. I've always loved them and been fascinated with them. I remember from a really young age, like 6 or 7, my mom and I would go to a restaurant, and when I was that young, I was fascinated with tongue piercings. That was my thing. And I'd be like, wow, did that hurt? That looks so cool. Mom, I want that when I get older. And she would look at me like, no. And I'd be like, yes. So I've always liked them, and I always knew from that age that I wanted them when I got older. But my parents, like most, I guess, were pretty conservative when it came to the whole tattoo piercing thing. And my mom she was like, no, not on my watch. When you're 18, you can do whatever you want to your body. But until then, not on my watch and not with my money. So I did listen and respected her, but the second I did turn 18, well, you know what happened. Actually, 3 days after my 18th birthday was when I got these done. I remember the date and everything, March 28th, it was a Sunday, and it was actually an hour and a half before I had to be at the airport for a flight to California. So yeah, that was interesting. So yeah, I've had these now, wow, actually going on 4 years. And these are probably my favorite set of piercings that I have. So everything about microdermals. As far as the piercing itself, I mean, I think the first question that comes into people's heads, and I get questions about these almost on every other day basis. People are always like, wow, did that hurt? So that's like the first typical question is, how badly did they hurt? which is kind of a hard question because obviously everyone's pain tolerance is different. I tend to have a higher pain tolerance than most. So what might feel like a pinch to me will feel like someone is like ripping out your skin for you. But to try and give you some type of range, on a scale of 1 to 10, I probably rate these like a 3.5 or a 4, like a 4 at the most. These were probably, honestly, my least painful from start to finish, healing everything, least trouble piercings that I have. And way less compared to any cartilage or anything like that. These piercings are kind of like a one and done. It's like, ooh, a pinch, and you're done, literally. So yeah, I'd say a 3.5 or a 4, so not that much for me. It's not like cartilage where when you get it pierced, it's just like, oh my gosh, you can feel that like throbbing pain for like hours, maybe even like days after you get it done. You're like, oh my gosh, my ear still hurts, and God forbid someone bumps into it while it's healing and you're like, oh my gosh, like I want to punch you in the face. It's not like that. It was literally, he used a dermal punch, you know, inserted the plate, which has 2 little holes on the plate, and that was it. The whole breathe in, breathe out. He makes the little incision, and there you go. I think the most uncomfortable part about the piercing was, like most piercings, was actually getting the jewelry put into it. But after that, there was no throbbing. It wasn't too sore. The soreness came in when you get it done. You have to like pinch the skin, and so he had pinched pretty hard down, and so for the next couple of days, I had pretty bad bruising from just him clamping my skin so tightly. So it wasn't the piercing that hurt the couple days after, it was actually the bruising. And I have pictures from like the couple days after, like my California pictures. You see me taking a picture and it's just like the piercing, and then you see yellow and black and blue. So that's what hurt and was what was uncomfortable, but not the piercing itself. And since then, it has never hurt or felt tender. Like sometimes, like even with cartilage, you could have it for years and it's fine. Someone accidentally bumps into you and it's like, you know, it's sore all over again. It's not like that with these. So that's that as far as like pain is concerned. And actually, let me back up really quickly. I actually wanted to start off by saying, and I think this is an issue that's kind of overlooked a lot of times, especially I'm the type of person, like when I'm interested in a piercing, I research the hell out of it. Like read blogs, Google it, watch, I mean, I'll watch like 6 hours of YouTube videos on one piercing alone and just watch video after video of them getting it done, their experiences and stuff like that. And I think it really helps me because despite the fact that everyone is different, a lot of times you can find similarities as far as like tips and advice and what they went through and things like that. But besides doing the research part of it, because obviously it is something that's going to be on your body, is the piercer / shop itself. I think that's like really overlooked, and some people might think it's really obvious, which is maybe why they don't talk about it in their YouTube videos. But I do want to say that I think it is the most important step in the process to getting a piercing, even as simple as a cartilage piercing. You know, and I don't think it's as obvious because I see enough people, you know, going on a whim to some random place in East Abamba and coming out with a really botched piercing. So maybe it isn't as obvious as some people may think. I live really close to like Atlantic City, Ocean City, Wildwood, like down in South Jersey. And let me tell you, you know, you're drunk or you're just out on the boardwalk. Hey, you know what? Let's go get a belly button piercing. Let's go get our nose pierced. Let's go get this. And they go to like some random shop on the boardwalk, and I mean they're called boardwalk piercings for a reason, because half the time they look like not that nice and crooked and just messed up. So I think like one of the first steps in any process to getting a piercing, especially if it's going to be a non-traditional piercing is to research the piercer and the shop. Does the shop have a good reputation? Have they won any awards, or vice versa? The piercer, do I know anyone that's gone and got piercings by them? Do they have a portfolio? How long have they been doing this? I know I saw some guy on YouTube, I watched one of his videos, and he was like, yeah, man, I've been in the industry so long, I know everything there is to know about piercings. I'm going on 3 years. And I'm like, really? Like, come on now. I mean, you can learn a lot in 3 years, but it's not gonna, it's not like you've been in the business for like 2 decades. So I think it's really important. I know for me, I live in a really small town. So I go to some place called Sick Creations, and they're really well known not only for their piercer, but the tattoos as well. And they're really reputable. I knew so many people who had gone to him. I saw their piercings. The placement was really, the placement was perfect. They looked so well done. They said he was really professional, and they really, really liked him. And they looked, you could just see they look good. So I was like, all right, I feel comfortable going. And I think that's another important thing, is to have, be comfortable with your piercer, because it makes it easier not only for you, but for them. So, that's my rewind, to just really just make sure they are reputable and know what they're doing, because you don't want a crooked piercing. You don't want a piercing that is, going to get infected the next day, or, there's red flags for bad piercers. I mean, you see it all the time. I know my piercer has like a huge 3-ring thick binder of all the piercings he's done throughout the years, not just dermals, but tongue splits and a whole bunch of different cool things. And they all looked really well done. So I was like, all right, I'm really comfortable going. And I've been going to him ever since, and he's done almost all of my piercings up to date. So that's just that. Anyway, back to the piercings themselves. So yeah, I talked about pain. Let's see, as far as like aftercare, initial aftercare, with these, it's actually, pretty simple to do. I use this. This is my best friend. It's called H2 Ocean Purified Ocean Saltwater Spray. I don't know if any of you have heard of it before. My piercer sells it in his shop. I think he sells, this is a 4-ounce bottle. I think he sells these big bottles for $12. He also sells little mini bottles. I always keep 2 of these in my medicine cabinet, like all times. And then the little bottle, like in my purse, just on the go. You never know when you're going to need it. But I think, I've seen these on eBay or Amazon for $10. You might even be able to find them for cheaper. I'm not really sure. But I will post a link of where you can find them and stuff. So I use this for everything. All my piercings, my ears, my dermals, septum. I mean, I don't use it for oral piercings, but I use it for virtually everything else. And it is a lifesaver. If it's red or just feels a little bit irritated, you spray some of this on and you're good to go. Like, it feels so much better. So as far as like initial aftercare, obviously make sure your hands are washed. You don't want any risk of being infected. So just make sure your hands are clean. I just had washed mine before this. So really what I did, and when he told me to do was, so you just take this, you spray a little bit on the Q-tip, that's what I use, or Q-tips, and you just circle around the piercing. I'm making it a bigger circle so you can see what you're supposed to do, but you're really going right against the brim and just circling around to get any little crusties that may have formed. I mean, obviously after a couple of years the crusties are going to go away, but I mean, it's still good to clean it. I still clean mine regularly every time I get out of the shower, and vice versa. So yeah, this is my best friend right here. So along with aftercare, as far as cleaning it, he did want me to wear circle Band-Aids on both of the dermals at night when I went to sleep. So he put Band-Aids on right after I got them pierced, that I was wearing all day. Actually, for the first the first week I was wearing, he said to wear it for the first week, to wear the circle Band-Aids like all the time. Obviously they need some air to breathe, but like for a big chunk of the day, and for the second week to just wear them when I went to sleep. So I went out and bought these, which are the invisible circle Band-Aids. And just a tip of advice as far as the Band-Aids are concerned, I didn't think, I mean, they make so many different variety of Band-Aids, colors, whatever's, that, you know, you don't think it's going to make a huge difference, but I think it does. I had tried 2 different types of circle Band-Aids. I tried the clear ones, and then I also had tried the material where it's like a little bit more stretchy. And those I found were irritated the piercing a little bit and weren't as like, it is a not sensitive in that it hurts, but you want to be really careful with these and just take care of them. And the stretchy ones, you know, those types of Band-Aids that they get put on your skin, and like within a couple hours they're like suction to your skin, and it takes like an hour to rip it off, and it hurts. So because it's such a not intense piercing, but you don't want anything to snag it, which is the whole point of wearing the Band-Aids at night when you go to sleep, just because you don't want anything to snag it or get caught or cause irritation. So with these, they're so simple. I'm actually running out of these, but these are sturdy enough that when I do sleep, because I'm a heavy sleeper and that like I move around a lot, they're heavy duty enough that they stay on when I sleep, but they're just as easy to take off in the morning when I need them to be off. Whereas the other kinds, when I was sleeping on them for 8 hours, it got to the point where it got stuck to my skin, and then it was a process to remove it carefully to make sure that none of the sticky part got on the piercing, so I wasn't ripping at the actual piercing itself or snagging it. So I do recommend the clear, with the clear around the Band-Aid. So yeah, that was the first 2 weeks as far as Band-Aids and cleaning it was concerned. After that, I mean, your skin kind of heals around the plate that's under the skin. And it should be close to your skin. It shouldn't be like popping out too much or anything. And if that does happen after a while, like as I said, I've had mine going on almost 4 years. Sometimes it will like pop out a little bit. I just pop one of these on at night, and by the morning it's all taken care of. So that's Aftercare and stuff. And again, this is H2O Ocean Purified Ocean Sea Ocean Saltwater Spray, and I'll post a link for this. As far as jewelry is concerned, I mean, there's so much of a variety to choose from. Colors, shapes. I have had stars before. I've had this same type but in pink. I was really into green for a while. They have like a multicolor kind of one. They also make danglies, which my piercer doesn't keep in the shop, but they do sell them online. But I mean, that's just, I mean, maybe for like a special night out, but obviously if you have something dangling from your chest, it makes it that much more prone to being snagged or ripped or caught on something. But you can change the colors and stuff. One thing I want to address is, like, I guess the myth about surgically removing it. So many people are like, wow, you have those, but that's gonna suck. Don't you have to get those surgically removed? And I'm like, no, thank gosh, because surgery, no, thank you. It's not surgery like you would think of, let me go to a doctor and have to get this and that. It's not like that. Just go right back to your piercer, and he can, if you want them removed, remove them for you. It's really not like a heavy-duty process or anything. So that's that. As far as rejection or infection and things like that, mine in the almost 4 years that I've had them have not rejected themselves or migrated themselves. The one time that it did, or actually it happened 2 times, and the one most recently was actually on July 4th weekend, is when I wear braids. My hair is really thick and long, and most of the time, like 95% of the time, it doesn't cause anything. So if you have long hair, don't be worried. I have long, thick hair. It goes, sometimes it gets like, and you can just easily like pull it out. But when I wear braids, like pigtails, a lot of the pigtail will get stuck, and that's what happened on July 4th, and I got caught, and it before I knew it, the plate was completely sticking out. So the one time it did happen, I had to take it out, wait a month, 2 months for it to heal completely, and then get it re-pierced, and stuff like that. So, but it doesn't get infected really. It never is sore or anything like that. Cost wise, I know my piercer, he charges $50 for one dermal and $90 for two, which might seem like a lot, and I think people think it is a lot because the reactions I get are like, oh my gosh, you spent that much, you could get a tattoo for that much money. But it's just like, you know, it's always about the quality of the work. You know, if some guy's like, oh, I'll do it for 50, but one's here and one's here, I mean, it's not, was that $50 really worth it? Or would you have rather gotten it for 90 and it looked, I mean, if you look at mine, they are 100% even. They're always close to my skin. They're not puffy or red around them. I have certain friends who have gotten them done for cheap or at a not so reputable place, and the plate sticking out, the jewelry doesn't look as good quality. They just look a mess. So I mean, if you want good piercings, especially piercings that aren't traditional and that take a little bit more skill, then yeah, you're gonna want to spend the money for it. Anyone who is in South Jersey, I go to a place called Sick Creations. They're absolutely amazing. The guys are great. I will post their Facebook link under here as well. Even if you're not in South Jersey, there's a ton of pictures for dermal placements that you might not even have known you could get dermals in those places. So I will do that. I'll also post a link for the H2O spray. Trying to think if there's anything else I can say about these piercings, but I think I pretty much covered it all. I really don't have any problems with these piercings. Obviously, if you have a really strict job, but I can cover mine too. That's another thing. Blazer covers it. You know, my placements are far enough that a lot of times if I wear a jacket or a sweater, I can cover it. Or these circle Band-Aids, and you'll never know that they're on your skin. Which is great. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about these microdermals. I also have these same type of dermals on my hips as well, but I feel like there's more things I can talk about with the hip piercings, like pros and cons, you know, with the placement itself, and just different things I can talk about with that. But this video, I don't want to get too much longer, so maybe I'll save that for a different video and just keep, you know, this whole series going until I cover, you know, all the piercings I think people might be interested in. So if you have any questions, comments, I do want to be that person that does respond to everyone. It's the worst when you comment on someone's video and either you see that they comment on someone else's comment but not yours, or they just ignore you completely, or everyone completely, and you're like, I just took time to comment, watch your video and comment, and you can't even message me back. So I do want to message you back, especially if you have questions about this and I didn't cover everything that I, you know, meant to cover or anything like that. I really think that's basically it as far as dermals. Yeah. So if you have any comments or suggestions, or there is a piercing that you want to hear about, then feel free to let me know. And until then, thank you for watching, and I hope you had a great time. Have a great day.